Captain America Brave New World, directed by Julius Onah, I believe is how you say it, is now in theaters. I just saw it, and it's not very good. This film stars Anthony Mackie, Harrison Ford, Danny Ramirez, Giancarlo Esposito, and Tim Blake Nelson, making a triumphant return to the MCU, I guess? Okay, right off the bat, we have some issues here. Why is this movie a sequel to The Incredible Hulk? I'm not getting into full spoilers, but I'm just gonna spoil parts of this. I'm not, go see the movie, whatever. But this movie is a sequel to Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk from 2008, and to that I say, why? What? It seems like, for some reason, Feige or whoever, the screenwriters, thought that, like, we needed the nostalgia of, like, The Incredible Hulk, the movie that nobody remembers, and, like, that would bring me in for this. Like, no, this is so many things went wrong for this. Obviously, this was a production that was apparently plagued by reshoots and rewrites and yada 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 controversies. Kind of seemed like towards the end there that everyone was throwing in the towel on this movie, that they maybe realized that, you know what, this just isn't going to work, this movie. And that's a shame, because I'll start with the pros of this movie, because this movie has some good stuff in it. The thing that jumped out at me the most was actually most of the fight scenes I think are pretty good. I think Anthony Mackie does a really good job, and I like this is gonna sound weird, but I like the shield work that he's doing. I think he, as opposed to Chris Evans, I don't know if it's just because maybe the technology's gotten better with making these movies, or maybe Mackie's just doing something different from Evans, but Mackie, you can almost like feel the weight behind the shield when he throws it. It sounds kind of weird, and I think it's because, I don't know if this is a deliberate choice or not, maybe I'm giving the movie too much credit, but it seems like when Mackie throws the shield, there's like effort behind it. You feel him like winding up and releasing, and you feel the shield like leave his arm, as opposed to Chris Evans, who obviously has, super strength, so he kind of just like whips his arm and the shield goes. And that's like, there's nothing wrong with that, but I like the difference. At least I felt that there was a difference between the way that they threw the shield, I guess. Anthony Mackie is, I think, a good actor, and I think he does a pretty fine job in this movie. I think he is doing the best that he can with the dialogue that he is working with, which isn't a lot. But I don't have anything against him, really. I think Harrison Ford is just fine in this. He's really not doing a standout job, I'd say. In case you're totally unaware, he is replacing the late, great William Hurt as Thunderbolt Ross. And he does a fine job. I mean, like, I don't know, spoiler alert, he turns into Red Hulk at the end. You all knew that from the trailers. Red Hulk looks really good. I mean, it's very impressive how not only how good Red Hulk looks, but how much he looks like Harrison Ford. So, I'll give it credit there. But those are really the only things that I liked about this movie. Oh, that's not true. One more thing. Carl Lumbly is, I believe is how you pronounce it. He's in this movie. He makes a return as Isaiah Bradley from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He plays Isaiah Bradley, who was the first super soldier, basically, that was experimented on and then was imprisoned by the United States. And I liked that part of Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I liked pretty much anytime he was on screen. It's just so painfully obvious that the Isaiah Bradley stuff is the most intriguing aspect of the movie at any time. And the movie and even the Falcon and Winter Soldier show just refuses to get into any of that beyond a surface level. And it's painful. You can tell it hurts the movie, because really none of this is interesting outside of Isaiah Bradley is the most interesting aspect, and they refuse to deal with that. They refuse to they kind of even refuse to pick a side, really, between like Isaiah Bradley and the government in a way, I guess. I don't know. It's very clear that, like, yes, he was wronged by the government, but there's also a weird, like, nobody's really guilty in it, I guess they're almost trying to frame it as, which it just doesn't work. Like, we just don't get a lot of time to sympathize with this character when I kind of want to spend the whole movie with this guy. Because he's a very good actor, Carl Lumbly, and this just doesn't work on a surface level. You know, we can't deal with all this in like 5 minutes, 5, 10, 15 minutes, and like 2 Falcon and Winter Soldier episodes. Like, it just doesn't work. And it's really annoying because I think it's the best aspect of the movie, at least in terms of its script, because I think the script is awful. I'm not really going to spoil the story too much, mainly because it's kind of hard to spoil because it's very incoherent. I'm going to sum it up as best I can. So I guess spoilers, I guess. I won't go into deep spoilers, but just, you know, if you don't want to know anything, go watch the movie. But basically, Thaddeus Ross becomes president, and he had Tim Blake Nelson in the background the whole time as a prisoner, just kind of making stuff for him. And one of these things that he makes, unbeknownst to him, is a concoction that will eventually turn him into the Red Hulk, and that's a problem. And it's dealing with the celestial island that has shown up from the Eternals movie, which I am like one of 5 people that I actually kind of like the Eternals. So it has to deal with that, and everyone is racing to get the adamantium from the celestial island itself. So yes, adamantium is the driver of this movie, basically. They only mention it like 50,000 times because, oh my god, the X-Men. Hey guys, the X-Men, adamantium, hello, Wolverine, adamantium, hello. Yeah, they need to make sure that you know that adamantium is in this movie because it doesn't really have much else going for it. So yeah, and then they deal with Harrison Ford is trying to make a peace treaty with the world, basically, where it's like, hey, let's not fight for adamantium amongst each other. Let's use it for good. And does it work? No. It's all very surface level and does not want to deal with it at all. This movie's under 2 hours. It gets in and gets out. Probably because it knows what it is and it knows that it's not good. I have a feeling that they gave up on this movie. And for good reason. I don't know how you turn this script into anything successful. You got to change the whole script. This is just not the movie that we wanted to know. We wanted to tell. Like, how did we end up on let's bring back the leader from Edward Norton's Incredible Hulk, where not a single soul remembers like what the heck is going on in it, and like, it's just not good. This movie. Here's, I think, my biggest issue with this movie. It's not about anything. This movie's not about anything. This movie has complete surface level is putting it kindly when it comes to like a take or an opinion or an idea. You know, like Iron Man is about, you know, a billionaire, a warmonger turned good and realizing his sins, and it's attempting to make up for that. And Captain America is about a man out of time, you know, fighting for the American values or whatever, or at least what he perceives them to be versus what they actually are, and what he wishes them to be. And this movie is about nothing. I could not find, I don't want to say like a political slant. I don't think political is the right word, but just like a moral idea in this movie. Like, for all of the whatever that has gone on in the MCU, the Captain America movies and Captain America himself is like fairly apolitical, you know, I guess. He's anti-fascist, anti-Nazi, whatever. And that's good. That's great. Like, you don't need to go much further than that, but there's absolutely nothing interesting to go off of for Anthony Mackie's Captain America. Like, just nothing. Here's the way I think about it. This movie starts at a certain point and it ends at that exact same point. Nothing has happened. No character has developed. No relationship has changed in the slightest way. Like, Mackie and Danny Ramirez's Joaquin Torres, who's the new Falcon, they're still friends at the end. Like, their relationship doesn't change at all. It doesn't evolve. Harrison Ford's character, like, realizes the error of his ways, I guess. My hair keeps falling on my face. Like, there is no character development from start to finish. And that is very frustrating. This movie is about nothing. There's no... I don't even need, like, a political slant in this movie. That's not what I'm saying. I hope I'm getting my message across, that this is just a movie about nothing. And while I don't need, like, some deeper meaning to it, it's just, like, the good MCU movies, and it's been a while since we've had one, I guess, but, like, the good MCU movies are about something. Beneath the script, beneath the story, beneath the superheroes, and there's just, like, nothing. Like, everyone's pretty nice to Anthony Mackie. Everyone's nice to the new Captain America, Sam Wilson. You know, that, like, he doesn't really have any trials or tribulations being Captain America, which I guess we had a show about that, but, like, does anyone remember that show? A show that I actually kind of remember liking, but I'll never rewatch because I'm fairly certain it's bad, and it would not hold up well. Okay, let's move on to the third act. So, like I said, the movie starts and ends, and all the characters are at the same exact point, which is a problem. But the third act... the third act of this movie is so mind-bogglingly bad. I actually can't believe it. It takes place in these with, like, the pink flower trees that you saw in the trailer, like the rose garden, not the rose garden, but like the cherry blossom. That's what it is. It takes place in the cherry blossoms area of Washington D.C. I guess, whatever. It looks like absolute shit. You know they didn't film there for a freaking second. It looks terrible, man. I cannot emphasize enough how bad the third act looks. The lighting is all wrong, and I don't want to be one of those, like, corridor crew guys, because I don't know nothing about, like, visual effects and lighting and stuff, but, like, it's just so painfully obvious that Anthony Mackie is not standing outside during these scenes, and Harrison Ford is not standing outside in the sunlight, because the sunlight and the characters are just, like, completely differently. It looks awful. This movie costs, like, $250 million. Why can we not get the lighting right on scenes? I saw this in a Dolby theater. Like, it's supposed to look nicer. That's the whole point. Why does this movie look so bad? What is going on? You just think that this would be solved by now, and that we could at least, like, paint over the cracks of this nonsense, but no, they can't. It's actually really bad. The big third act, like, unsurprisingly, I guess this shouldn't even count as a spoiler, but, like, unsurprisingly, Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford get in a fight. And it sounds funny when I put it that way, I guess, but Captain America and Red Hulk, they duke it out for, like, not that long. And it just ends. Like, I don't know how to say this without, like, totally spoiling, but essentially Anthony Mackie is able to calm down Harrison Ford's Red Hulk in, like, 7 seconds. Says, like, 2 sentences to him, and Harrison Ford's like, you're right. I am now calm. And then he just shrinks back down to Harrison Ford. To a Harrison Ford-sized Harrison Ford. And that's, like, it. Like, it's beyond anticlimactic. That's not even, like, the word. That's not being harsh enough to the end of the third act. It's terrible. It does nothing to anyone. I can't believe how actually bad this is. It's bottom 3 MCU movie for me, unfortunately. There's a post-credit scene. There is a post-credit scene. I swear they filmed this post-credit scene in 1997. There's no other option. They filmed this post-credit scene before any other Marvel movie in the world came out. They had to have. There's no other choice. Here's the post-credit scene. It spoils nothing, so I'm going to tell it to you in full. Okay. Tim Blake Nelson's the leader. You know, he came back. Woohoo. He got captured at the end. Sorry. And he's sitting in the raft. The prison in the water that we see in Civil War and is famous in the comics. And Anthony Mackie visits Tim Blake Nelson in prison in the raft. Says, hey, hello, Tim Blake Nelson. I've captured you. You are in prison. And Tim Blake Nelson goes, nice of you to defend your world or something. You think you're the only one? You think you're the only world? And then the cut to black. The only world? What do you mean the only world? We are 20 years into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Anthony Mackie fought aliens like twice. What do you mean the only world? We know this. What year was this scene filmed? I have a theory. And I don't know how. I don't know. I have a theory. That this scene is just totally reused from unused scrapped footage from The Incredible Hulk. I'm convinced that they comped out Tim Blake Nelson from wherever this scene was originally filmed. They stuck him in the raft in a prison cell. They painted his body green because he's the leader now and he's green, and it actually looks pretty decent. I'll give him that. And they put him there. Notably, Mackie and Tim Blake Nelson are never in the same shot during this scene. It's a very short scene. It's less than a minute. They are never in the same shot in this scene. I am convinced that Tim Blake Nelson is probably talking to Robert Downey Jr. in that scene. He's talking to either Downey Jr. or William Hurt in that scene. But they just comped it from The Incredible Hulk. And they said, hey, Anthony Mackie, look at this wall and react to nothing. This is the new post-credit scene. And it's Tim Blake Nelson being like, hey, did you know that we're not alone in this world, in this Marvel Cinematic Universe? Yeah, man. I know. I saw The Avengers. It came out in 2012. Thor: The Dark World came out like 2 years later. Iron Man 3, that was all about aliens. It was all about PTSD from fighting aliens. Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Endgame. Have you heard of those movies? Spider-Man No Way Home, perhaps? I don't get worked up about post-credit scenes. I think they're stupid. And I think they're mainly just there for fun. And for the most part, I don't even get mad when they're boring or useless. But this one blew my mind how stupid it was. What he is taunting us that we are not alone in this universe. 20 years after the universe started. 20 years. The Avengers came out in 2012. That was 13 years ago. He is teasing a movie that is 13 years old. I'm convinced that Tim Blake Nelson filmed that scene in 2008 in anticipation for the Avengers movie that was happening in 2012. That is a mind-boggling decision. And I'm going to ride it into the sun because it's true. What else? Oh, Giancarlo Esposito's in this movie. I don't know why. He plays Sidewinder. He's literally in it for like 7.5 minutes. He has nothing to do. He's not important. He literally ends up being not important. He is only there to serve as a distraction in the movie, basically. Bad, stupid, waste. This movie sucked, okay? I'm rambling now, but guys, I can't get over the post-credit scene. Okay, well, I guess that's my movie review. This movie wasn't good. It's probably going to make a lot of money. It's probably not going to make enough money for them to be happy, so who knows when we're getting Captain America 5. We probably won't. I guess we'll look forward to the Thunderbolts. Maybe that will be better. I wouldn't hold my breath, though. Anthony Mackie, you are innocent. It's not your fault. This script was completely unbearable. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. Oh, there's one cameo in the movie someone comes in for a scene. I liked it. Maybe it's because of recency bias, but or just nostalgia. But it was nice to see this person for one scene just kind of show up and say, "Hey, you're doing great, Anthony Mackie," and then just leave. That was nice, I guess. I don't know. It got the pheromones going, I guess. So whatever. But yeah, that's my review of Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Not a good movie. On another note, I'm Still Here tomorrow, the last Best Picture nominee I haven't seen. So once I see that, it'll be time for the Koval's to come out, which is all that matters. Oh boy, have I rambled. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, yada yada yada. Well, give this video a like, I guess, or whatever. I don't care. And I'll see you in the next movie review. Goodbye.